All right, welcome back to the Run.down over here on the Strickland YouTube channel, as well as now the Strickland Podcast Network. It's your boy Samuel, aka Sam, at FBL_Sam. Got Tyrese at London's Theory on Twitter, and we got Jeff at FrankBarrett119. Knicks win their first preseason game versus the Pistons with a score of 117 to
96.
96. Yep. I mean, first time and probably one of the only rare times that we will come on here with nothing negative to say. So do not get used to all this positivity. I will say that. Pretty fun game all around. I mean, Jalen Brunson started things off with, setting the tone in terms of, being aggressive, getting to the basket, as well as, just being a good point guard, which is like something that we never had as New York Knicks fans. So that was also refreshing. Um, yeah. So I mean, start things off. How'd you guys think Brunson looked in his preseason debut?
It's preseason game one, and I'm already getting the victory lap shoes on. Um, I told you this was gonna happen. I know that it's early, but I'm still gonna bat. I'm gonna victory lap it. He's good. We have a point guard. Enjoy this.
Yeah, he was really good. I do want to push back on not the love Brunson's getting, but like I feel like we're doing a lot of not us three, but like just us as a Knicks fan base. What I saw on Twitter, we're focusing a lot on the point guard aspect of it. Like I've seen so many people be like, "We finally have a point guard," and like I feel like Brunson tonight at least was just like a really good scorer who happened to play the point guard position. Like he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't out there like, putting dimes. Like if I'm being honest, aside from a mini stretch, I actually thought Quickly played a better point guard game than Brunson did. Brunson just was the better player.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we can get into that down the line, but like as far as like setting teammates up relentlessly with baskets and like organizing the offense, Quickly had a really rough stretch late in the third, but overall he was phenomenal. And I just thought Brunson, he plays point guard, but he was just fucking awesome. Like he was just scoring and he had a few really nice setups, but I don't know. It's a nitpicky thing, but I'm pushing back a little bit on the whole like, oh, we finally have a point guard. It's like no, we just have a really good player who happens to play point guard, like we've seen some iteration of this before though.
True. Very true. And with the ball in his hands, it limited opportunities for others on the basketball court to not have as many opportunities to um mess up, I will say kindly, as well as it eliminated opportunities for a certain garbage two-man game to dominate offensive possessions when they were on the court together. So that was a breath of fresh air, as ZMP323 says in the comments over here. Um, so yeah, I mean, nothing negative there. Nothing negative there to say. I will say, in terms of Mitch in the starting lineup, he looked pretty good today as well. The blocks, the mobility, the activeness. I think he just looks way better, and that's always a positive sign. And it looks like he took it seriously after last year coming out, not looking the best, not being in shape, and getting paid this off season, and showing the Knicks that they made a smart investment so far. So yeah, I thought Mitch looked pretty good.
That
Yeah.
was one of the best defensive performances I've ever seen from him. Like, again, not given the stakes, but he was unbelievable. Like, we've always said, like, if he could just be like 85% or 80% of Rudy Gobert, like, we have a steal. That wasn't just rim protection. I mean, I'm really excited to rewatch this game just to rewatch him because on first glance, it looked like he was covering for so many mistakes. I actually thought that Fournier and Randall, after the first quarter or so, both played really, really top end individual defensive games for them. They were both much more active after that first quarter. But early on, the Pistons made a point to attack Brunson, Fournier, and Randall, and Mitch was everywhere covering for them. It was an astounding performance from him. again, not just from a rim protective standpoint, but just an all around defensive performance. If he can be that and not need offensive touches, just dominate the offensive glass and be that defensive force, we got a steal at that contract.
Yeah, I agree. I think the like him last year coming off the injury, you knew it was going to take some time for him to get adjusted. But I feel like the second half of the season he really played well. Um, what is that? Oh, oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Anyway, it's not on my headphones. Yeah, I feel like he played really well, and yeah, I to the point of like covering for mistakes a lot. I think you just saw him gunk up a lot of what the Pistons wanted to do, especially in the half court. Like at the rim, they couldn't get anything at the rim. On the perimeter, Mitch would like stop their drives and would like with some dig help from Fournier. I felt like they couldn't really get any like good high quality shots, and I felt the shots they were getting were like Hail Mary ISO bucket prayers, and that's ideally what you want to see from the guy you paid 60 million to anchor your defense. And if Hartenstein is going to be shooting threes and passing the way he was passing, I feel like that tandem of Hartenstein and Mitch is going to be so lethal. Arguably, it's probably the best center rotation in the league right now. Arguably, I think Mobley and Allen probably has the cake, and maybe like Gobert and Towns. But like, it's up there. It's definitely up there. I think.
And to continue that point, Tyrese, we as people who watch this post game really like to crap on Tibbs. I thought he did a lot of good things tonight, but probably the most encouraging part of tonight's game related to Tibbs is related to what you just said. I think that the team almost played the two units played two very different styles of basketball, which is something we haven't really seen in 3 years. Usually we see Mitch play, and then the guy who comes in for Mitch just mimics his role. And even though it's worse, it looks exactly the same. We actually saw Hartenstein being an entirely different player than Mitch. And Tibbs didn't say, "Hey, Hartenstein, I know you have this skill set, but I'm going to force you into what I think a center looks like." He said, "You can stretch the floor a little bit. You have great vision, great processing, great passing. We're going to capitalize that and utilize that." And he ran like 10 plus dribble handoffs, or, he just had the ball at the top of the key scanning the floor, and Mitch didn't have that at all. And if that's the type of thing we're going to see from Tibbs this year, he could have a really good coaching season if he's willing to say, we're going to coach to our players' strengths. Because, I mean, let's be honest, in 3 years, that's not really what he's done. He's made people fit into his scheme rather than fitting his scheme to his players' strengths. And I really liked that tonight.
And I replied to a tweet earlier today saying that Tibbs is so one track minded when it comes to players, in terms of when he sees them one way, it is just that way going forward, no matter what happens. And that really applied mainly to Emmanuel Quickly, who I thought um came out the gate really aggressive. I like the aggression going to the paint. Um, really aggressive, like in terms of like going for like actual like layups and stuff like that. I think it was Mike that was making a point in the broadcast of saying how like when he's going to the rim now, he's getting bumped on his drives, but it's not like deterring his drives. It's like he's getting bumped, but you can see like the strength that he gained over the last couple of years is actually making an impact where like he's taking the bumps, but he's like getting fouled, but he's still able to get like a good shot up, which has been something that like I've been really I've been really happy to see the progression since the start of the end of last year and heading into the beginning of this year. So hopefully it's something that continues, and it's just another tool in his arsenal for him.
Yeah, I from the Strickland account, I tweeted that I thought it was funny that everyone, or his detractors per se, like to pigeonhole him as this six man, as you were just saying. Even Tibbs just sees him one way. But to me, scoring has almost been the worst part of Emmanuel Quickly's game in 2 seasons. Like, yeah, he has like average efficiency for a guard, but he's been very streaky as a scorer. The other aspects of his game, especially as his passing have has evolved, excuse me, have been much more consistent and just more of a guarantee. Like he's an elite rebounder for a guard, not just a good rebounder. He's like in the upper echelon of rebounding guards. His defense, as we saw again tonight, him and Deuce were just, I mean, they had Killian Hayes. Killian Hayes is going to have nightmares tonight about what Deuce and quickly did to him on the court today.
Killian Hayes should have nightmares every night that he plays in the NBA.
That's fine. I agree with that. But at least usually Killian Hayes is able to like get to the basket, but he couldn't even get by quickly and Deuce. Like they were just hounding him. And then his passing, he had, 10 plus good looks created for teammates that just didn't result in assists. Like he really is seeing the court well. And that's the danger and then downside of pigeonholing up a player as talented as quickly.
Terry, anything to add?
Yeah, I agree. I think people just look at the raw data with quickly and do not understand how impactful he is in the game. Like, you need to watch Emmanuel Quickly play the game and then realize how good he is at basketball. Like, you see 3 assists, 3 rebounds, and it does not tell the story of how he's getting those rebounds, how he's getting those assists, like the personnel around him contributing to his stats. This is why, like, you can't just watch a box score and be like, oh, this player is good, this player is bad. Like, Quickly, legitimately, you give him, like, hell, put him in, like, the first unit. Like, put him in the Jalen Brunson role. I feel like he would have thrived. He would have thrived at the start of this year. Yeah, I'm just irrationally high Quickly. He feels like he's already in midseason form because he's breaking free throws.
God, that's so frustrating.
Yeah, like Quickly is like at his best when he's like hitting 85% of his free throws instead of like 95. I've always found that to be weird, but yeah, man, like he's so good, man. The leg sleeve year 3 Quickly jump is coming, and I'm excited for it.
And that's such a good point about the leverage of his rebounds because, like you said, he only got 3 rebounds, but they were all high leverage rebounds. And like this won't be, crap on Julius Randle day. I actually have nothing but good things to say about Randle, but no one gets more low leverage rebounds than Randle. Like if there's a rebound with no defender around, he's in there hunting it, like whereas every rebound Quickly gets, it's amidst a sea of taller offensive players. And that's like, to your point, Tyrese, why watching and studying how you make your impact is so important.
Yeah, to your point, Jeff, I saw a graph on one of those graphs on Twitter that shows like the people's heads, and Julius was on the one that I was talking about, like rebounding in certain situations, and it definitely correlated to what you just said. So that's why I was just like smirking when you said that. Let's get to some comments before we get into some other parts of tonight's game that were pretty refreshing as well. Ace Bouchard says Randall was less bad than expected. Definitely had a rough go around in the first, I would say, in terms of his shots. And, I gave him crap for that on Twitter, as I will this whole season. So be prepared for that. But anyways, yeah, I mean, he started picking things up when, game had already been decided.
Oh man, this is some nice hate, Sam. I'm gonna let Tyrese go before I.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, we was up already like 23, and then he got his rhythm going. So but yeah. Next comment.
But wait, before we get to that comment, I just want to say I actually disagree with you here, Sam, because
of course, not no problem. Go ahead.
I don't think that his scoring was even close to the most important part of.
Oh, for
game.
sure. Yeah, it wasn't. I wasn't.
Yeah.
I just wanted to crap on him for a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
We know.
But I think the glaring thing with him was the 0 turnovers, and I think that's due to like Jalen Brunson just having the ball more. Other guys having the ball in their hands more, him not having to be so much of a decision maker. There were some moments where he fumbled the ball, where he was dribbling a little bit too much, but then he realized, passed it out. Hopefully that's something that continues during the regular season. It's preseason, it's low stakes. When the pressure antes up, we'll see how much it bothers him, and how much he'll have the ball in his hands in those situations as well. But for first preseason game, I thought it was pretty all right.
And that's the main point, right? Like the thing you just said to me is everything. That his usage and his volume of possessions went down. And something me and you talked about, Sam, because we're both kind of on the anti-Randall side, is we were convinced that because Brunson was coming in, because Brunson was going to have a high usage, Randall in his percentage of possessions would try to force the issue more because he's just so used to getting his. And something I really liked tonight was that was not the case. He, like you just said, aside from one or two, mid ranges from isolation, unless the shot was really there, he was looking for his teammates and he wasn't forcing the issue. And our expectations aren't that high. We don't need his 2020, 2021 shooting splits.
Hell no.
If he can just play that style of basketball, I think 95% of Knicks
Play
fans are over.
smart, conducive to winning, quick-minded basketball,
Yep,
you will win all of New York back. If you
exactly.
try to replicate 2020, 2021, you are going to fail because that is not possible, and you are not going to win the city back. And the front office will definitely start taking calls from Charlotte and Phoenix, who are desperate for some help right now.
I think
So
Phoenix is desperate for happiness at this point.
they're
Like
desperate
no,
for anything at this point. They just got beat by a team from Australia.
yeah, the Allen Day 36ers put the fucking paws on them.
Yeah.
That team is going in the gutter.
So they're definitely looking for something. And if Julius thinks that he's going to replicate 2020, 21, then Phoenix, go ahead, take that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I just want to say like he played quicker. Like he not as quick as I want him to play, but he definitely played quicker. I wish his decision making was like a second faster, but he took one mid range shot, didn't go well, but he took one. He took five
he took a
shots at
lot
the
of
rim.
threes.
Yeah, like that's what I want. I want him to take like I wish he took more in the corner, but like if he could hit that decent above the break three at like 35% this year, hitting in the corners and just taking the shots at the rim that he's getting because he's going to get a lot of them with Brunson like breaking down defenses. The guy's gonna sleepwalk to 20. Scoring is not his problem. He can score as much as he wants to. He just needs to be conducive to playing, and also the defensive effort that he showed, especially second quarter onwards. Like, just keep doing that. That's how you score.
I don't know if I want
Would
him taking as many threes though. I mean, I know it's 2K, but in 2K, I have my most success using him as a pick and roll screener and roller, and he is like
I think
unstoppable that way.
he has to take those threes for like the sake of the team. Like he has to. Like I want him taking 4 to 5 threes a game. If he's gonna take like let's say 13 shots a game this year, I think the
he'll take
numbers.
more.
Yeah, I
I mean,
know. I'm just saying like as a number, you know.
yeah.
If he's taking like let's say 15, 16, whatever, right? I
Mhm.
want at least 5 of those to be threes because
Yeah, I
I need
agree.
him to be able to like bend defenses with his space. I need him to be able like to be a corner threat because this team desperately needs him to be a corner threat.
It's funny that Sam says that because my next question for you guys about Randall was gonna be, what did you guys think of how he got to the rim? Because I actually thought that was another step forward on last season that it looked like he was trying to take. He seemed more adamant at getting to the hoop. He wasn't the most successful at it, but I just like to see him, as Mike Breen says 7 times a game. You like to see the aggressiveness, like, and I like to see that tonight. I'm curious what you guys think.
If they want him get him going to the rim more, I suggest they probably use him more as a screener, which I didn't see much of today.
Yeah.
For that
Um,
opening possession.
yeah, but yeah, use him more as a screener. He
Yeah.
has some sort of rolling gravity. It may not be as strong as Obi's or Mitch's, but he definitely has some type of gravity rolling to the rim and utilize that.
Like I was saying, like this all season, I'm like he has that rolling gravity, but like he hasn't used it in 3 years because nobody on this team was like able. Well, Tibbs wouldn't put anybody on the team with him to like get him to roll enough. Like we didn't see IQ and Randall enough. Rose kind of rejects screens a lot to try to like get to the rim, and it just kind of felt like Brunson was like, okay, set the screen, set the screen, set the screen, and like you could at least see the process, and he started to like ease up. He started to like embrace it. I really feel like the first quarter was kind of him going, let me figure it out, and then after the second quarter, he kind of took off. So I'm happy with the results. I'm happy with the process. It needs to be cleaner, but it's the first preseason game, so I'm not going to beat it up too much. And yeah,
Yeah, let's get to the next comment. Aaron De Niro says, I like the energy Hartenstein was bringing to that unit for sure. I mean, that second unit was just like steamrolling, like as per usual with the Knicks. Second unit is like the God Squad. And they played so much faster. It was like it was so fun to see that team, that unit out there. And it was fun when RJ was out there with them too. When it was like RJ, I think IQ, Cam, um
But
Obi and
can't
Hart.
play can't play like out like one quarter and then like got injured. So like
Yeah, per usual with
Yeah, I hope
him.
he's all right.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, that second unit was definitely fun, and Hartenstein being able to stretch the floor. I know it was something that was like brought up in like passing with him when we acquired him, because he wasn't someone that took a lot of shots from out there. But it looks like something that they want to like utilize more, similar to what they started using with Taj as this past year. So maybe we might see more of Hartenstein's stretch five abilities, and being able to have that different style of play, as Jeff was alluding to earlier, being able to have two different styles of plays between the two units. It's gonna be very interesting. Um, I would like to see, Hartenstein and other players be staggered, and have intermingling of different units, so that way it's not the whole hockey subs shifts as always. Have Hartenstein and like Obi out there with like Brunson and RJ and stuff like that, and mix it up. I would like to see different stuff like that. Um, I keep my expectations super low because the coach that we have and how he likes to do things. But yeah, I did like Hartenstein and what he brought. Definitely shocked me with the volume of outside shots he took already.
what I want to say is like Tibbs definitely got in his little bag. He got in his little Duffy. Like we saw the 3 guard lineups. We saw Juice running with the starters for a little bit. Like he definitely
because
was.
because someone was out. That's a
I mean,
rotation player.
true, but like you at least saw him like do some things. And like even when we've seen people
And
be out
that's the
before.
issue though that I've highlighted so many times, is he is forced to like be more creative when there's an injury, which sucks, because when Grimes comes back, it's gonna be like, okay, we know what to expect now.
I mean,
And
I'm not gonna play that guard's minutes though. Yeah. So
the funny thing is that even I agree with Tyrese. That's why I was saying that earlier. I thought he coached a good game, but even in a more creative Tibbs game, he inserted a bench guy into the game, took him out, and then inserted him back in the same half 0 times all game. He just has no capability of making multiple subs in a half, and it's one of the most baffling things to see, because that's how you mix up units. Like um, Hardenstein. What were the first 3 off the bench? It was Cam, Obi, and Hardenstein, right? Does that sound
Yeah.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So let's say we're trying to do what Sam was just saying. Hardenstein comes in, halfway through the first. If he wants to bring Mitch in to start the second, okay, like bring Mitch in and then put Hardenstein in for a little bit. Like that's how other teams operate. They don't just. And you saw what Sims was out tonight. So Tibbs was like, okay, well, I'm going to pull Mitch early, and then, all right, I guess Hardenstein will just play the last 18 minutes of the game.
Like
Like
what?
that's
Like
that's like
exactly.
he wasn't like, okay, I'll play Hardenstein for 8 and then Obi a little bit. Like he was just like, that's just how he operates, and it's really wild. Like you could play a drinking game all season long, take a shot every single time a bench guy gets subbed in, subbed out, and then subbed back in the same half. And I'm pretty sure sober people could play that game because it won't happen once all season. It's really
I will
wild.
definitely be playing that game then.
Yeah.
I will definitely be playing that game because
It's
I
just,
will be I will be fine. I'll be absolutely fine. Oh
Yeah.
man.
regarding Hartenstein, I agree with Aaron. And there's a specific play that I'm going to be highlighting in the Strickland thread tomorrow that I thought was just really funny, but also just like I was like, man, I'm really going to like this guy. He got the ball at the top of the key, like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and one of the bench guys was completely out of position, just not the way the offense was supposed to be run. And Hardenstein like angrily waved for him to cut through because he was supposed to be on the other side of the court. And I was thinking to myself, like, dude, we're up 27 in a preseason game, but he was like, he really wants the offense to just flow like a machine. And I was like, man, Tibbs is gonna love this guy, and we're gonna love this guy because he's just you can tell the way he processes the game. It's like Obi, and they're just gonna be on the
Man,
same
I'm just waiting for those
wavelength.
back. I'm just waiting for the Kylo Quinn, Doug McDermott style, backdoor cuts. Obi is just gonna feast off those. Oh my
Yep.
gosh.
Yeah, he's just gonna be a ton of fun to watch. I've got to be honest, I mean, it was nice to see those first two threes go in, but I can't imagine Tibbs wants him like
Like jacking them like
launching.
all
Yeah,
year.
I can't imagine that's gonna be like he's
Uh,
gonna shoot three.
I think he might because like he had Taj doing the whole corner threes thing for most of the year. So I don't know if he's gonna be content with having Hartenstein do that kind of thing for maybe the top of the key once a game or something like that, just to keep the defense a little bit honest.
Okay,
But
but like over under 90.5 threes for the season. You guys
Over.
betting the
under
over snap over. All
Under.
right.
Over. How much did
I'll go
Taj?
under.
I want to see how much Taj took in the season. I would assume like Taj took like a decent amount. I want to say like, Taj took 38. I absolutely think Hartenstein could probably take more than 38. And remember, Taj didn't play for a good part of the season, so like,
Right.
I think he's gonna be pulling this year. I think he pulls this year because I kind of feel like that's his natural progression. I think he took like 30. He took 30 last year.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's gonna start taking a little bit more because
So 60.
And a lot were at the end of the season. I did a thread on him a few months ago for the Strickland account, and I looked at his game log, and like 20 or something crazy came in like the last 10 games of the season, including a Bucks game when I think he took like they got killed at Milwaukee, and I think he took 5. But yeah, I mean I'm with you, Tyrese. I think he wants to pull. I'll be interested to see how much Tibbs like
Lets him.
how big a leash Tibbs gives him.
if he starts pulling and he's like hitting them, let's say I think he takes like less than 3 a game. But say he takes like 2.5, 2.6, and he makes like one of them. That's a good number.
Yeah, that's 40%.
2 points is like 38, if I'm doing the math correctly. Like 38.
1 divided by 2.5.
Divided by 2.6.
Oh, I was gonna say 1 out
I
of
said
2.5 is definitely 40%. But yeah,
I said 2.6. My bad. But like, yeah, like I can see it. Like I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, man. Like,
yeah, that'd be a really freaking good player. A center shooting 40% from 3 on a little under 3 attempts a game.
Move over, Cat.
In like
as
20
best shooter in the shooting big in the league.
dude,
Yeah.
I think he's pulling this year, man, and I feel like his pulls are gonna be better than Taj's because Taj had that old man windup, but Hartenstein's was like straight up just like in rhythm, ATB threes, and you're just like, okay, is this just preseason or is he like actually trying to like smooth out this part of his game?
And it could be just preseason.
Sure.
Some guys they like to get up those reps in the preseason just so they know they have it in their back pocket if they need it in the regular season.
But I feel like if you want to win the starting job, like I feel like if you're pulling threes,
I don't think he's trying to win the starting job though.
well, I mean, like,
I think he
okay.
knows he's the backup.
I know, but I'm just like,
we know you're having fantasies about a white guy starting over Mitch.
all right, dude. me of
Yeah,
all
you.
people, like I have a very big love affair with Mitch. Relax.
Is being German is that white? Me and my
Yes.
friends argue about it all the time. It's like is
Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo? He's Spanish, right? Like I don't get it.
He's
It's
white.
Portuguese. It's like
Or yeah, Portuguese. Yeah, duh, sure. But still, how is that? How's that a race? I don't. Showing my ignorance. Showing my ignorance here.
This is the ethnicity,
It's
his nationality versus his actual race.
His race, which is
Yeah.
white. He's just tan. But yeah, like I can see him pulling, man. I really can see him pulling. I just have a feeling that the front office signed him because of what he does offensively.
Hope you're right. For once.
Speaking of speaking of white dudes, Tibbs' favorite was balling tonight. Archie Diacono, that kid.
For you mean Rye him, Archie Diacono?
That is exactly what I mean.
Did you see that little
first two white guys on the Knicks on the court for the same time since when?
It's been a minute. It's definitely been
No
a minute.
way.
Like,
What
I
about
said
Staps and that Brad Dukas guy or whatever the hell his name was?
Doug McDermott.
Well, yeah, and McDermott, but there was another guy more recently. God,
I was thinking Luke Cornett and Henry
he was
Ellenson.
like this old Euro who was a fan favorite. He had like
Mindaugas Kuzminskis.
that sounds something like that
yeah,
sounds right.
yeah, it was probably Kuz.
Those that that was a little bit further along. I think more recently is Luke Cornett and like whatever random like white scrub we had, or Ron Baker.
Wow,
There we
Luke
go.
Ron
Cornett
Baker.
and Ron Baker, or like Luke Cornett and Henry Ellenson whenever we signed him for that random stretch at the end of one of those seasons that we sucked.
Ron Baker got an extension, but Frank couldn't.
That was crazy.
Disgusting.
Yeah, let's get back to some comments before we get into like the the rabbit hole of white Knicks players.
Great white Nick players.
Is Bouchard says most of IQ's misses in the paint seemed because he was expecting a call. I noticed that especially in like the third quarter, there was like one or two drives where like he drove with the intent of like trying to get a call. He did a better job when he just played through the contact because of the newfound frolicness. Yes, basically. Yep. I think the added strength helped with playing through the contact.
For sure. He
Absolutely.
I would say he played almost a perfect game up until there was a possession at the end of the third quarter when he wanted to go 2 for 1, so he like faked the pistol action to RJ and just kept it. Um and it was just an awful possession. Like RJ was supposed to get the ball, and he like waved RJ off, and then he bail out, gave it to Obi. Obi passed back to him. He airballed a three, and that was like the string of like a really weird like 3 minutes where IQ was just horrible. But aside from that, I thought he was really good. Um, and I agree. I think that almost all of his misses in the paint were him just trying to draw contact and expecting the call. He just needs to find more of a happy medium because he's just not going to get the whistle that he thinks he should.
Yep. I definitely agree. Like, I don't know if he doesn't. I don't know if he's not gonna get that whistle because like his free throw rate at the end of the season, like post All Star break, was like damn near 400. Like it was insane. Like he might have like a low key Alec Burks whistle. Like Alex Burks was a free throw merchant for
He
whatever
was.
reason. Like like his free throw was like in the like near 400. I'm pretty sure. Like Burks was crazy, but like I don't. Maybe I'm just like really off the Kool Aid of a one season, and I acknowledge the fact that I might be, but like man,
You think?
I buy that. I buy that. I think quickly just I love quickly, man. I love quickly.
We got James Marcetta. If firing Thibs tomorrow meant it would take 3 years
I guess
guys' life,
you guys' lives.
off you guys' lives. Oh,
Wait, what? Wouldn't it add 3 years to our lives?
it would, but in this scenario, he's making it take away 3 years
Oh,
of our
he's creating a
lives.
scenario.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I guess I don't know.
Fuck out of here. I like life. What you mean? Like
Yeah.
the Knicks are secondary to my life. It's okay.
Until the never mind, I won't say it. I'll let it happen, and then you'll go through the stages of grief, Tyrese.
You're sick. You're sick.
You sick motherfucker.
Oh man, I'm glad you got that instead of me having to explain it.
That's three
Um.
years less than you'd have to fucking thirst trap OnlyFans girls. It's
Oh
okay.
my gosh. All right. Anyways,
Let's move on quickly.
Nemo Petitour says Obi's marksmanship was kind of the bitter part of the night. Small sample for sure, though. Yeah, he was very confident in his jump shot pulling. I will say, um, he's definitely feeling the vibes from the end of last year, carrying over, but it did not carry over. I did like that one possession where RJ got him that pass, and he got into the lane. I still think his strong suit is, still getting into the lane, getting into the paint, strong finishes. But jump shot is like something that's, little sprinkle on top.
Yeah,
Terry's
I
about to say how
mean,
much he hates him, but go
the
ahead,
thing
Jeff.
is, first of all, that take he had in the first quarter was awesome. The one that led to a dunk. That was
Hmm.
like one of the first times we've ever seen that from him. But he's gonna get more paint touches with Hardenstein on the floor. That's just gonna happen, and he has to accept that. Not because I don't think he can be a good shooter, but I don't think he can be like a great shooter. Like I could see him honestly, the numbers with a little bit lower percentage, but the numbers that Tyrese just gave for Hardenstein, like I could see Obi shooting like 35% on like three-ish attempts or like 4 attempts per 36 or something like that. That's like that's totally reasonable to me. But I think he's so used to, well, I'm only this is gonna be my only touch for a couple minutes, so I gotta, let it rip,
Hmm.
and try and create a rhythm. He's gonna realize very quickly that that's not a thing anymore. Because first of all, both Rose and Quickly will be looking for him with a more open paint. And second of all, with Hartenstein, the paint is going to be more open and he can be more of a screener, assuming the Tibbs of tonight is here to stay in terms of like changing up his style and the profile of his offense. He's going to get more pick and rolls. He's going to get more paint touches. So there were a couple catch and shoot threes that I really liked, including the one that he mysteriously airballed. Like that was just a fine and rhythm look. But he took one from the free throw line extended or like the elbow extended that was really deep and I thought was a force.
Very much a force, yeah.
Yeah, he just doesn't have to take those anymore, and he's going to learn that, and I think that's why we're going to see a higher percentage this year.
All right,
Yeah, I
Terry,
think
go on how much you hate him.
there's opportunity for him this year because I think Julius got pulled out 6 minutes 54 seconds into the first quarter, and then like Obi came in and played the rest of the first quarter. So like there's definitely room for him to like get minutes in order to come into the game, make an impact. Um, I do think he could be a decent shooter, like 34, 35% around that range. I don't know if it'll happen this year. Um, but if it does, like, it wouldn't be too surprising. But yeah, I don't. I just he's good. Like he's good. I definitely feel like he's trying to force it a little bit, but I'm not really counting too much about like stuff like that. It's preseason. Like the preseason is for getting your bullshit shots up because ultimately you just want to do stupid shit for the fans. Like, so I'm cool with him like taking a couple of those like deep shots early.
And it's just reps too right now, too, for a lot of these guys. It's just reps.
Yeah, like Rose played 5 minutes today.
Oh yeah,
Like
because Tibbs is saving him for the 30 minutes tonight. He's gonna use him in the regular season.
100%, but it's also just like guys, these guys are just like starting to get their game legs underneath them. So I wouldn't look too much into a lot of like reps or bad shots or bad play or whatever.
Yeah. Nemo has the update on the white guys. Very
There is
odd statement. But he says Porzingis, Kuzminskis, Plumlee, and Vujicic.
Oh yeah, Vujicic. Oh
Wow.
shit.
he
In
was really
2016,
in
17.
basketball within 5 years ago. That's insane.
Wow.
Oh man,
God.
We really brought Vujicic like out of like the slums of wherever to like hoop for us because we played triangle offense.
I'm so
that's why.
fucking old now, man. Jesus Christ. That was
All right,
2016.
Oh
Fuck.
man.
I'm the
But
old man. I'm the old man here, Tyrese.
I think one thing I liked RJ had like probably the quietest 21 points he'll ever have. And I think that was a result of, Jalen Brunson making the game pretty easy for him. Just even if it wasn't in terms of Jalen Brunson directly dishing the ball to him, but like he didn't have to force anything, I think. And that's probably going to be the biggest thing that going forward this season, which will probably help in terms of that efficiency leap is the shots that he doesn't have to force anymore because there will be someone creating better looks for him, whether it be directly or indirectly as a result of just his presence on the court and what he can do. And in terms of just the offense probably being a little bit more free flowing, it wasn't that free flowing today. But I think RJ also getting a chance to play with that bench unit a little bit more will help him um take that efficiency jump too. Because when that second unit got moving, it was just like fast breaks, easy layups, just like everything easy for everyone on the court. And I think that's how the team should play in general. But I just thought it helped a lot more that he was playing with the bench, and that's when it occurred.
Yeah, the bench unit is so fucking good. Like third year in a row. Like the Knicks, like Leon Rose, if anything else, can say that I got first round picks and I got you a bench unit. Like that bench unit is fearsome. It kind of feels like they've been able to get that right, and it's been off the back of their developed young players. Like you have Rose there, but also like Quickly's there, Obi's there. Miles McBride. We haven't even talked about him much, but like holy shit, Miles McBride, man. Like Miles McBride is such a good fucking player, and he's not going to get any minutes on this team. That's the worst part of the season. Fuck Cam Reddish. Miles McBride is not going to get minutes on this team, bro.
I feel like Tibbs is going to find ways to get him in the game. Like, he's just too much of a Tibbs guy.
Okay, so honest question. So when Rose goes down, and not if, when Rose goes down,
Oh my gosh.
do you think Miles McBride makes a rotation over Cam Reddish?
Depends on who's healthy. But
I'm feeling
Cam Reddish will probably not be healthy, so
I think it's McBride.
Also, I'll say this: if Fournier is coming off the bench, I think he'll go. Deuce, because Fournier at least has the size to play three, and I'm not saying Grimes doesn't, but just from a lineup construction standpoint, I think Cam makes more sense next to Quickly and Grimes. And I think you really want his length and size. So if Grimes is coming off the bench, I think he'll go to Cam first. But if it's Fournier off the bench and Fournier is that like defensive liability, he's going to say, okay, I want another. I could see him going to Deuce in that instance.
But my counterpoint is Deuce McBride is good and Cam Reddish isn't good. So like size be damned. I don't really care about the size as much if you're never going to be healthy, and when you're healthy, you're never going to be good. Like Deuce got the VC. He got the beard. The beard's a little bit thicker. He got the
beard.
I mean, yeah, the beard. He had a little beard on him.
What
beard.
player are you watching? Deuce McBride has one of the most naked faces on the team.
Listen, it was like a little bait. It was like a little puff patch, But like,
face is now also revealing he is schizophrenic. Wow. Oh my gosh.
All right,
this is insane.
It was a little bit. It was a little bit of faces here, right there, bro. Like enough to be like, all right, you got a little something.
Anyways, enough about Deuce McBride's facial hair.
Anyway, back to my point at hand. Like, he got the VC tat, like the prison tat, the first tat, like the fucking basketball in Jesus tat. You know what it is. Every player's first tat, and like, I don't know, man. I feel like he's ready to play. Like his defense was insane.
Yeah, the passing lane stuff is phenomenal.
Like he could not shoot threes to save his fucking life, but like he got into the lane
in the NBA.
In
the G League, he can.
Yeah,
for some odd reason.
G League Deuce is like all-star, but like I don't know, but it just kind of felt like he got in the game and everything switched. And that moment where like Quickly and McBride were playing in like the second quarter, and they just ran havoc on the Pistons, and the Pistons had no answer for it, and they basically just took turns fucking shellacking them. Like, man, I feel like he has to get minutes somewhere, and when Rose goes down, I feel like he's the guy that Tibbs might turn to.
There was a couple possessions where Quickly and Deuce like had ESP going, and like they saw the other person hounding, and they saw that the ball handler only had one avenue, and they were just, I mean, Deuce especially, but they were just both so good, and they tried so hard. It was really nice to watch.
Yep. I mean, I think that's all we got for today in terms of, today's game. Not much negatives to say, mainly just positives.
If you don't mind, Sam, I had one thought because you brought up RJ. It's really funny to me how stuff kind of just works itself out. Me and you talked a few times towards the end of the season last year in post games about how RJ and Randall seem to really be like freezing each other out. Like Randall kind of, and we were like kind of speculating, obviously without any inside information. But we were like, maybe Randall's a little mad that like he doesn't want to pass the torch, and RJ's like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna take the torch, like, and they really didn't seem to like passing to each other. And now all of a sudden Jalen Brunson comes in, and there's no like 1A, 1B. It's like, okay, Jalen's kind of the guy on the offense now. And I really thought that RJ and Randall like looked for each other tonight, and there was a chemistry that we hadn't seen since 2020, 2021. Especially Randall looking for RJ. There was one play when he like bolted up the floor, got 2 feet in the paint, didn't force a shot, and just found a trailing RJ for a pull-up 3. That was just another thing to be encouraged by with Randall and just with the team in general. I really liked their chemistry, and they didn't showcase, a lot of the chemistry issues and the selfishness that we saw towards the middle and the end of last season.
Yeah, I'd agree there. Hopefully, as I say with all the stuff in preseason that have been positives, hopefully it continues in the regular season. Because last year in the preseason, we saw a lot of things that were really great, but when push came to shove in the regular season, into thin air. So
we're all singing
here's hoping.
we're all singing Kumbaya, and everybody's averaging 20 ppg. It's a great time.
We will see. Next preseason game is Friday at 7:30 against the Pacers. Another one of those young teams in the league. We'll be live after the game. These preseason games, they go by super quick. Wish NBA regular season games went by this quick, because I'd be in bed like way
that
sooner.
West Coast stretch is gonna be a bitch this year, man. It's gonna be hell.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it, but it is what it is. Let me just go through these comments real quick, see if there's anything that we can address.
At what point in the season will we be graced by a stream with Tyrese using his webcam?
Yeah, as soon as the regular season starts.
First game of the season.
Yeah. So we will be live on Friday evening after the Pacers Knicks game. Another game at MSG. Make sure y'all subscribe, leave a like. Check out the links in the description. They will lead you to everything Strickland related in terms of merch shop. I got my merch coming on the way. So I'll be rocking it for some of these streams. The Patreon, where you'll have access to the Discord, where the conversation never ends, as Schwinn kindly puts it in the ad reads. So if you want to interact with a whole bunch of other Knicks fans that love the Knicks as much as you do, definitely tap in there. Follow us on Twitter. The link for the Twitter will also be there as well. And link to the site. Some great pieces have gone up recently, and I assume some more will be coming out as the season gets underway. And we're also audio now, so if you missed, I guess, some of this, or are able to listen to it later, or you want to listen to it later, you can. It will be available on all podcast streaming platforms. And we'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
And shout out to Aaron Judge 62.
Yes, sir.
Y'all still losing in the wild card. It's cool.
All right. All right.